children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart. There's a space for everyone in my heart. There's a home. There's a home for everyone in my heart. Now we're gonna do a new version, okay? Ready?
Take this song to another level. When we need your help, huh? Thầy Phap Khai and sư cô Bạch Nguyen sẽ rap this song. We amateur, but then when the chorus come in, you all sing from the mountain. Okay?
It's actually a type of Khai rapping, not me.
We start first with the sun.
The sun is shines on my face and on my eyes. The sun shines in my heart. The sun shines in my heart.
Ready? This is for all the young cool people in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle.
The sun is shining on my face and on my eyes. The sun is shining all the way into my heart. The river is flow. From the mountain to my toe. The river is flow all the way right to my soul. From the mountain,
The flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart.
the tree is swaying, give up oxygen all day. The tree is swaying, having nice to reach all day. The bird they fly, as a school of fish can fly. The bird they fly, bring the joy into my life.
The mountain, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart. For everyone in my heart. So that was just scratch. Should we hear it again? Yeah? Who wants to hear Brother Phap Khai rap again? Raise your hand.
Remember, I forgot the lyrics. It's not easy to rap. I can feel how they rap. Ready? We can have fun together. Huh? The bird is flying. Oh, the sun. Okay, ready? One more time. The sun is shining on my face and on my eyes. The sun is shining in my heart. The sun is shining in my heart. Ready? Just about me, maybe you can do it with me too. The sun is shining on my face and on my eyes. The sun is shining all the way to my heart. The river flow all the way down to my toe. The river flow all the way down to my soul. On the mountain, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. This is for everyone in my heart. Ready? The tree is swaying, give us oxygen all day. The tree is swaying, helping us to breathe all day. The bird they fly, as a school of fish swim by. The bird they fly, bring the joy into my life. On the mountain, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. For everyone in my heart, for everyone in my heart. brother from Khai needs some more practice.
But not too bad, huh? Okay, so the next song we're going to teach you also has to do with the sun. Sorry, we love the sun and the rain so much.
We need it here in Seattle.
Yeah. So this is one of our favorite songs, and you can also do hand motion along. When it gets to the line no discrimination, everyone's going to bring up their magic finger, and you're going to look to your neighbor to your right and look him or her in the eye and say no discrimination, okay? So we'll sing the first line and then everybody sing together after us, okay?
The sun,
it shines on everyone.
the sun, it shines on everyone. The sun, it shines on everyone. Every time. No discrimination.
And now the rain, it falls on everyone. Okay?
The rain, it falls on everyone. The rain, it falls on everyone. No discrimination. No discrimination. My heart belongs to everyone. My heart belongs to everyone. No discrimination. No discrimination. Can anyone think of anything you'd like to do with everyone? There's no discrimination. Anyone? I sleep? But let's say I sleep for everyone, okay? I sleep for everyone. I sleep for everyone. No discrimination. No discrimination. How about I sing with everyone. I sing for everyone. No discrimination. No discrimination. Is there anyone else that's saying? I smile to everyone, yeah? Okay. I smile to everyone. I smile to everyone. No discrimination. No discrimination. Brother Phap, you got one?
I snore.
This is a real practice, huh? I snore for everyone. I snore for everyone. No discrimination. No discrimination. Okay, thank you everyone. Maybe now I'd like to invite our brothers and sisters to come up while everyone can sit up with their backs straight, relaxed, sitting beautifully, peacefully, and remember to smile.
Sit beautifully as you are. No trying, okay? Just sit as you are. And close your eyes and come back to your breath. Take a few moments just to check in. Are we really here? Check in with our mind, our body. Check in with our breath. Close your eyes and we look inward. Distracted with our eyes, our ears. So you use the inner eye. Become aware of our body, our breath. When you breathe in, just say in breath to yourself. No need to try hard, just be aware. Just say in when it's an in breath. Say out when it's an out breath. Dear respected teacher, dear brothers and sisters, dear young ones, we've been treated with beautiful days, huh? You've been enjoying the nature, the landscape. So nice to be in this environment. So spacious. Become aware of the sun, the cloud, the ocean. This morning there are 3 brothers. We're going to continue to share with you the 7 factors of waking up. Waking up from our snoring, right? I keep hearing oxygen stuck in my head now. So we'll continue today to share. And I think the first night, for those who were here, we shared about the first factor was mindfulness, right? The energy of this capacity, energy that helps us kind of, our eyes look and we know we have this awareness, right? You can be aware of something outside, or you can be aware of yourself. How you're feeling, you feel relaxed, you feel bored, you feel tired, you feel, see, it's this capacity. Once we bring the mind back to our body, we can come in touch with that. We can become aware of our breath, feel that? All of a sudden, you bring your mind to it. So mindfulness is as an object. Right? You can bring, you can look at someone, and they become your object of mindfulness. When you drink tea, the tea becomes your object of mindfulness. So you bring your mind, and you're aware that you're drinking tea. When you're eating, the food becomes your object of mindfulness. When you're walking, the step becomes your awareness, your object, right? The footstep. So these training help create this energy of mindfulness. Most of the time we are more forgetfulness or mindlessness. We just do kind of like the cows do that, so the rest of the cows do it. So it's a habit energy we have. And we've been trained to be like that. Some of it is also from our ancestors, our parents. Our parents suffered through war and running and afraid not to have enough food, or hide their money. Your parents have that? They always hide money under the bed or behind the door somewhere, just in case. So that's really in us. And it's translated now as anxiety. We're nervous. We're like, make sure everything is secure, For your generation, maybe not. Maybe you're more cultured in American, but some of that ancestor is still in you. And but you've been trained. You have school bells here, the one that goes, ah, and you have to go to class. Do you have that? Yeah, I remember that. And does it remind you like a laboratory? Ah, and then all the mice switch rooms. It took me a long time to get rid of that. Now when we hear the bell, see, you're getting trained too. It's just like school. In school, you have to rush, throw everything in your backpack and run, right? Sometimes you eat your food halfway between class, a cup of noodle or something. So when you hear the bell like this, you're also training yourself. But here, we don't have to run. When you hear this bell, or you hear the clock in the dining hall, it's like, why do I have to do that? It's so dumb. That's what I said when I first came across it. I was like, this is unnatural. But running to class when you hear the bell is natural, right? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. I come back to visit my elementary school. I stand outside and I watch. And I saw myself a lot. The kids running. So when you listen to the bell here in the retreat, as well as when you go to Plum Village, it helps us come back to our breath. Take a deep breath, we come back to our center, to ourself, to the present moment. And you need a lot of training. especially if you're having a conversation and it's a really nice conversation. And it's like the bell rings, you have to stop. That bell is so annoying. Why is it disturbing in the middle of a hot debate, you know? When I first came to the monastery, it was like that. And soon you see all this, I had a rebellious nature. When I first trained as a young novice monk, I hated the bell. Especially in the dining hall when it rained, But soon I saw, okay, just come back to the breath. So I just did what was taught, and slowly I relaxed and I calmed, and I began to, maybe a year or two later, to really enjoy it. So when the bell rings, really enjoy standing there, or you're holding something, put it down, and just come back and enjoy your breath. Right? Some young people, they come to Deer Park and they think it's like, did somebody press the pause button? And then once they figure out what we're supposed to do, they stop making fun of us, They stop halfway and they're like, spoon in their mouth, and they do it purposely so the monks and nuns could see it, I think you want me to do it, I'll do it for you. But it's really cute, Even the little ones, the little boys, they really love to play a game. It becomes a game for them. So they stop and they look at each other. But for those who know, it really can help us retrain ourselves. Because we have a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress in our body. And so the bell, when you hear it, it helps you come back to your breath and take a break. A lot of people take a break from their work and they go outside in the corner in the back door somewhere and they smoke, right? Yeah, they know how to take a break. But I wish they just dropped the smoke, Just come out there and go. It's so much healthier. At the hospital, doctors and nurse. Yeah. There's a level on the top roof where they go and smoke. I've been there. You see all these, what do you call it, buds? There's doctors and nurses that take care of your health. They take a break and they go up there and they smoke 2 or 3, But anyway, that's the habit. You think that's normal though? You hear the bell? Is that normal? Or is it not normal? It's not the question of that. It's that what are we doing and why do we do it? So we retrain ourselves. So when we become familiarized with the bell and it helps us stop, at a stoplight, when you're frustrated, you're like, geez, city traffic again. And then you remember, at the retreat, you're able to stop. So all of a sudden you look at the red light differently. You take a break. Like, why am I so frustrated? The traffic is traffic. There's no way I'm going to go through it. So I might as well enjoy the red light. Some people around the world that live in the city have learned to stop at a red light, and they do it differently. See, so it is all culturalization. It's all like habitualization. So we think we're free, wow, we don't have to do that. That's only for But you look again, the things that we grow in our society, you think it's normal, but it's actually ingrained in you through magazines, through films, through television, and through the media, right? Tell you how to dress. You think he chose that shirt? He didn't choose it. They chose it for you. Right? It's a trend and so on. So you have to question. You have to look at what is true happiness, true love, what is really true self, like ourself, who we are. So when you train in these practices that you're learning here, walking, you think running, walking fast is normal. But when you slow down, because that's not normal, but you start to see a lot of things. You see that you have the energy you're uncomfortable with yourself. So when we walk and we slow down, it's to help us, to recognize there's this energy in us that is like very dispersed. So these practices help us come in touch and not lose ourselves. And when we do lose ourselves, we know our breath. And when you become master of your breath, the breath will indicate a lot of your feelings and emotions. There was shared, the sister shared a lot about that yesterday. So we try again, okay? We listen one sound of the bell, and don't do it automatically. Okay? Just don't do it because you have to do it. Enjoy your breathing. Okay? Just sit as you are. Just close your eyes and enjoy the sound of the bell all the way, one sound, all the way to silence. And really enjoy breathing. It's so nice. Have an in-breath and an out-breath without smoking. Fresh air from the ocean. Today, I'll share about concentration. Yesterday, Sister Lumhin shared that one of the ways you can touch joy is to have concentration, right? What was another one? Mindfulness. Concentrate, insight. That's right. You know those three energy, okay? That's like the basic. If you want to learn anything about these practices, remember mindfulness, concentration, and insight. Those three are like the pillars, the three corners of the triangle of everything we do. They are like the energy that help us understand more and become more true to ourselves. And so joy is very linked. And you see with the 7 factors, it's all very related. And my 2 brothers will share about ease and equanimity. Okay, there's the last 3 of the 7. We like to put it in 7, but there's actually infinite. There's many other factors, but these are just ways that people devise so they can help us kind of remember and have some focus for our practice. So I'll rewrite on the board for us to help us. Seems like it's like a classroom now, huh? Well, you don't have to take notes, okay? So we have mindfulness, concentration, and insight. Those 3 energy, okay? What was some of the 3 the sisters shared yesterday? Can you remember? Understanding, right? Mindfulness, investigation, right? And, right, diligence, and then joy. My 2 brothers will share about ease and equanimity.
equanimity. So these 7. I guess you can call them 7 factors of awakening, but they're also you can see they're like qualities that we have, right? I like investigation, as Sister Dangnim shares, Sister D. Investigation, you see the children here? They're like, their eyes are like this. They're exploring everything, right? It's so beautiful. Sometimes that's, we call it the beginner's mind, right? Always exploring things. It's like, why is that happening? Why am I getting angry? But you can only ask that question if you have enough mindfulness and concentration. Usually when you're angry, you don't ask that question. You're actually very explosive, right? But when you have time, you can sit down and look into it. So there's investigation. So what is concentration? You know when you eat ice cream, you're having ice cream, and you know you have ice cream, right? And you're texting with your other hand, you're multitasking, and you're not concentrated on eating your ice cream, what happens? Yeah, it gets all over your hand, right? I've seen someone at the airport like that. And they didn't even realize that there's like goo running down their hand because they're so focused on something else. So they're concentrated on the computer, but not on their ice cream. So concentration is having one thing and being mindful of it. So when you're eating your ice cream and you really focus on it, you like ice cream? Oh, yeah? It's so nice, huh? You really enjoy licking, you're there. It's like, Mom, I'll get to it later, you know? Yeah, concentration is like that. It's actually really being with that one thing and enjoying it. When you're with it, you can really enjoy it. So it's having this kind of consistency. So it's just simply having that kind of, but that requires a lot of, we call it outside of focus, right? Having focus, attention. You know, I remember my teacher, you know, okay, attention, attention. She claps her hand, right? And everyone kind of, okay, okay, like that in the class. So attention is very related. So I want to share with you today about the things we pay attention to. It's called selective attention. Right? So we can have different objects for our attention. We listen to one sound of the bell and we bring attention to our breath. Now the breath becomes our attention. In, out, breath. I'm here for you. think yesterday Sister Bhakti, she drew a picture for you. Remember the circle? This is a representation of our mind. Remember? She shared about the 4 diligence. When there's positive down here, what do? We try to water it so it can grow up, right? Become a flower in our mind. And how do we water that? What's some examples? Like, thank you, Mom, for cooking such wonderful dough of pho. Right? When you're at home and you recognize something and you appreciate it, that's recognizing that there's flour. And when the flour is there in your house, like your mom cooked you pho, or like, help clean the house, you recognize that. So you maintain and you recognize the people in your lives. It's called flower watering. Remember that, okay? Sometimes we live in our family with our siblings and our mothers and fathers, but we forget to appreciate it. What happens when the water you don't water? The flower? Yeah, it starts to wilt, right? So these are things that we kind of lose attention because they're routine and they're like part of our lives, and we take it for granted. So sooner or later it becomes really tough time in the house. There are other things too. Of course, we are human, so we also have little weaknesses and buttons. So you saw the skit yesterday. Yeah, there's a lot of anger, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of not going a lot, right? So these things cause us in the family a lot of, and every family has it. Okay, in your partnership as well, everybody's got to have this stuff. There isn't like a partnership or a family that's like perfect, a pure land family. We've been around and, I've been traveling for 50 years with retreats. Everybody's family's got it. We call compost, right? You have flowers and you have compost. The flower, can you grow flower? You've seen the plastic flowers? Yeah, they can live forever, right? But they're plastic. Flowers, plants, they need the soil, the smelly stuff. So sometimes we want our families to be perfect, to have difficulty. So our practice is know what to do with that. When it's like, the dirt becomes a little moldy, you take a little rake and you kind of rake it up, right? You kind of stir it back up to give it oxygen, and it's fine. So our suffering, our difficulty, our challenges is like that. So when we have like negative things in our family, we try to kind of, you can't get rid of all of it, you just have to know how to use it. And this is very important because this will cause less suffering. One of the greatest suffering is that we think that there's a place or there's a time, a state where there's no suffering. And that's in our teaching is not first of all, it's not realistic, and it's very idealistic. So these are things that Sister Bhakti shared. And here I'm going to share you how our mind is triggered. This is our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, and our body. Okay, this is how our senses interact with the world. When we see something, and it goes through our eyes, right? Let's see, we see a person. We see our friend, like, hello, react. Or we hear something, and we react, and it becomes part of our mind, right? So this is how, right now you're not angry. This last 2-3 days you haven't been angry. But you have the anger seed down here. Right? It just hasn't like popped up yet. When you go home, and somebody at home says something, don't, right? And you get angry, right? So that anger seed comes up. So what does this have to do with paying attention? In our lives, we have things that go well in our family, and we forget. When I grew up as a young person, I took my family for granted, and I didn't see my father, didn't see my mother, and appreciate them. Same thing with my brothers and sisters. So these are, I think we all experience this. As we live with someone longer, we kind of we don't see their good qualities and don't appreciate them. And when things go wrong, it actually, it's easier to pay attention to that. So in our daily life, we have to be careful of what we pay attention to. And I think we heard that in the sutra the other day about looking at if their speech is not well. Do you remember that sutra? The different ways of putting down your anger, right? Relieving your anger. When their speech is not kind, you look at their action. Maybe their action is kind. So those are the three karmas, right? Through their speech, their action, and their mind, or their thoughts, or their heart. Let's say their mind. Remember that. That's through ba nghiệp, right? You know that in Vietnamese, the three karmas? This is how we interact with the world. Through our speech, our action, and our thinking. So when we pay attention, like my father, he's very grumpy in the house. And when he says something, it always triggered. And it made me very kind of irritated and angry. But I saw that my father, with the practice now, I can see that he's more, in his heart, he's very kind. He's very gentle. He hardly ever yells at us. I remember growing up, but you never think about it. But when you have time and you sit down, you can see these things in your father. So his speech is not kind, but his mind is very kind. His heart is very gentle. And his action, my father used to give us money whenever we wanted. We'd ask our dad for money, and he'd always give it. That was his way of expressing love. He could never say, "I love you." And anytime we needed to go somewhere, like to meet a friend, my dad would drive from somewhere, pick us up, take us there. And as a kid, I took it for granted. Only when I grew up and I learned the practice, I was like, wow, all those times, and I never said thanks to my dad once. I just took it that's my dad, and he does it, But in return, I yell at him, and I say bad things about him not being a good dad. See, so these are ways for us to relook at how we pay attention we usually have a tendency to pay attention to things that go wrong. So in concentration, the things that help us, when we learn to concentrate our mind with the breathing and with the bell and the things you learn here, it helps us to have a delay period. This is one thing that really helped me as a young person, is that we're very reactive. So when we learn to to delay our reaction, like the bell, the clock, when it really helped me learn to retrain myself, so there's a little delay. We're very impulsive. We want to do what we're used to, but a lot of it is from the habit energy. So when you stop and you follow your breath, you're training yourself to have a little bit of a delay time. And from that, you can see where you want to put your attention, what you want to concentrate on. So he's like, oh, right now I'm full of like something, this energy, and you get to choose. So this is one of the aspects of our practice that will help us. Delaying, and then the stealing of the mind. When you sit in the morning and you still yourself, then you have more clarity. Right? The concentration, it helps bring us more clarity of mind. Then you get to see things, and you know when your emotion is getting in the way. So these are two things that helped me with my relationship with my father. One is when I sat and I focused and I concentrated. It helped me see all these thoughts I had about my father. And I get to choose. Like, well, do I want to keep thinking that way to cause myself and him and my family suffering? Or do I start to look at other things? So I started writing the good qualities about my father, things that he's done for us and for the family. So that started to really bring my attention to other aspects about my father. And it helped me become happier as a young person. So it's not just your father, it could be your brother, your sister, your mother, it could be your friends as well. So remember these practices. They seem kind of unusual, kind of not comfortable. But it's the same as when you're first learning to play sport or something. It's kind of hard. But as you keep playing it, it becomes more enjoyable and you can actually hit the ball in the court. So it's the same thing. These practices feel really strange and you don't know why you're doing it. So I just try to share with you a little bit of how it helped me as a young person to become a little bit more authentic with myself and to actually be kinder towards people I love and people I meet. So my two brothers will continue with the sharing on ease and equanimity. We'll listen to one sound of the bell. Come back to the breath.
So dear brothers, dear sister and dear friends, so today I continue to share, to follow the path, and I will share on the subject of ease. When we every time we listen to the bell, we learn to follow our in-breath and out-breath, and our mind become calm, our body become calm, and I enjoy that. And sometimes people ask me why you become a monk. And one of the reasons that I want to become a monk is because I want to, easy. I like to live life, easy, take it easy, and not moving so much or, excited too much. I see the Buddha statue, he just sit there, peaceful and smile. And I just like that image. And we got these seeds transmitted from our parents and our ancestors. And I feel that, of course, I have other energy in me. Energy I want to be happy. There's also anger. There's also sadness. But there's also, this quality that our brothers and sisters share about joy, the ease. And the more I look deeply into myself, I reflect that some of my ancestors back then, they like to live this way of life. Want to be peaceful and be still. Because it feels comfortable, it feels nice to maybe we just learn to be comfortable and bear with this sound that the speaker made. And because I grew up, I know how it's been like in school when we stress out with homework, assignment and project. And when you get out of school, you start finding job, and you have to wake up early and make it on time. 6, 7, depend on your job. And I remember all those feelings, woke up, have to go to the restroom fast, and then get into the car, try to beat the traffic, sometimes, but the traffic depending on your cities can be very hectic. And then there's always this kind of, anxiety, try to make it on time, on work on time, so the boss won't look at you like, okay, you're late today, things like that. And so when you at ease, when the mind, the body is calm, it's a good feeling to enjoy, and I like that. And so when the word ease comes to my mind, there's also quality around accompany that. The ease go along with the calmness and this grace, spaciousness. And the picture of a moon, they're sailing across the sky, just gently. The moon won't rush, like one day they're like, like a shooting star. No, the moon just easy, nicely, just moving across the sky. And we kind of picture the energy of the Buddha like that, like this bright moon floating across the sky with ease and graciousness, or an image of a leaf, when the fall of the petal of the cherry blossom fall down gently with ease, and the petal of the leaf won't try to rush down to the earth. No. We have this quality, this natural element in us to be at ease, to be calm. And just falling and falling. It's very beautiful. And that element of ease is in all of us. It's just a matter of we know how to cultivate, to invite that element. Because maybe, our lives busy and nothing nothing wrong. I mean, it's just that life, just moving fast, and sometimes it kind of condition or push us to go like that. But with the practice, we have a choice. We learn to manage our life in such a way that at least 24 hours a day, maybe bring at least 5-10 minutes for us to calm down our mind, our body, to enjoy. Just this 15 minutes or 30 minutes like nap, relax, the meditation, total relaxation, to feel that ease and bring it for us to care and to rest, right? And if we don't learn how to rest and to be at ease, how long we gonna last, right? This engine, we're gonna go for how long? We drain our energy, and soon we can be very tired and very, how you call hell? Cái hoa nó không được tươi nữa. I don't know, how do you say hell in English? Wither. Yeah. And so today I share that how to cultivate ease. And it's not something, some people they're born with that graciousness, they come out very nice and easy, I don't know what happens, but many of us, we don't have that. So we have to cultivate. And when we go to a retreat like this or a meditation, center somewhere, Vipassana or something, just learn to sit still, to calm, to rest and relax. And here I share about the aspects of mindfulness. And I think that mindfulness is an energy, is a source that can we can practice to cultivate this ease. And what I learned when I become a monk is there's a teaching of the Buddha share with us like aspect of life, area of practice of mindfulness, that we can cultivate this quality of joy, of compassion, and many other happiness. And so there's a sutra, we call they have this sutra of mindful breathing, the 16 exercise of mindful breathing. And there's another sutra very connected with that sutra, is the sutra on the 4 establishment of mindfulness. And when we practice of mindfulness, which Sister Dee share is help us to cultivate the now mind. But when we are here, in the now, what do we be aware? And the thing we can aware, we can tell us to be aware is first is our in-breath and out-breath. Right? We need to breathe to stay alive, and so we learn to be mindful of our in-breath and out-breath. And then the first 4 exercise of the sutra of mindful breathing is help us to be with our deep breath, be mindful with our deep breath, and then our body. Very easy to see, because sometimes when we rush, our breathing patterns can be a little fast. So when we sit down, when we do walking meditation, we learn to calm our in-breath and out-breath. And then from a pattern where it's rushing, we can calm down, and slowly, as we just kind of embrace that breathing pattern, become more calm, and then what you feel, you become more at ease. And then even sometimes the breath is start calming, but the body might not. So there's the heart pumping, or there's something is moving. So that's when you start focus the energy of mindfulness to the body. So breathing in, I'm aware, tension in the shoulder, on the face. And then we practice to embrace those areas, those aspects that are close to us. So we can calm down, and just enjoy that lightness. And you know how earlier I rapped the song, the sun is shining. I've been practicing that for 2 weeks. but not often. But then I still forget. I still forget. So the practice need time to really make it a how you call a habit. But this is a good habit. We have bad habits, but there's also a good habit we need to cultivate to bring joy and peace into ourselves. And so in monastery, we have gatha, or we have poem. Because sometimes I have to tell you, even many years of practice, sometimes I still forget or negligent about the present moment, and so we react quickly. And so our teacher and other teacher, our ancestors, the master, the venerable, they come up with this gatha, so for us to remember. So for an action, we have a gatha for us to remember. I suppose the brushing, there's a gatha for that. The walking, the washing, everything, the open the doors, the entering to the meditation hall, there is a gatha to remind us to come back to the present moment. And one of my favorite gatha is putting on the robe, putting on my áo ngực đô, áo tràng, or áo ngực bình. So here is the gatha. I translate it to English, but also read in Vietnamese. And in that gatha, there's a word about ease and also lightness. That's what I want to share with you. Because there are moments I try to rush to get on time for scheduled activity, and so I try to put on, like that. And that's, very nice. So the gatha is like this. Mặc áo của người tu. So wearing this monastic robe. Thân tâm thường nhẹ nhõm. Khỏe nhẹ, thân tâm thường khỏe nhẹ. So your body and mind, you practice in a way that with lightness. Nguyện sống đời thảnh thơi. So I vow to live my life, with easy and breezy of freedom. Đem vui cho trần thế. So to bring happiness or joy to the world. So when I read that gatha, so when sometimes I rush and I say, I'm not like living a life of easy and breezy here. I'm not at ease. Okay, so I breathe and then I put on my button slowly, with back straight, and that's our fine manner. And when this habit of brushing, calm, and with this gatha and the practice of mindfulness, it helped me bring it back and cultivate, this habit of living with lightness and with ease. And then there's another gatha. When you notice the monks and nuns sometimes they walk upstairs, there's a gatha for that. To help us, because sometimes when we just like we can make noise on the stair, and the gatha is like you see that? Lên hay xuống, đi lên xuống cầu thang. Và nếu nghe tiếng lột bột là biết lòng chưa an. Lên hay xuống cầu thang, thân tâm thường nhẹ nhõm. Nếu nghe tiếng lột bột là biết lòng chưa an. So when you walk up and down the stair, if you heard the noise, you practice to be light. But if you heard this sound, then you know that your heart or your state of mind is not at peace. So you gotta walk nicely. Yeah, and there's gatha for walking also. So I have to thank our teacher to give us gatha like that, to remind us, and the training is like that, day by day, throughout our life. And with that, it helped me a lot to cultivate the awareness on the action that I do and the body movement. And the picture, I also seen out there, how the basketball player or the soccer player, yeah, you see how back then Michael Jordan, he take the basketball to the basket with his tongue sticking out. In order to do that, he have to go through a lot of training, right? So his move is very You know, like he know how to move, you know, around the opponent to make the basket like this. And then he does, you know, like Kobe Bryant like that too. Maybe our practice to have this ease. You have to, you know, where to move. Yeah, like that. And how about soccer? The same thing. The soccer player, they juggle the ball day and day, and then they develop this, how you call it, pattern. Now, like the club Barcelona, you know Barcelona? Any soccer player in here? Yeah, they developed this pattern called the tiki-taka. Oh, and they move the ball so quick and at ease, like, And they know the opponent, they know the ball where it comes, and then with their feet, they know how to move. Then they just pass the ball like that, back and forth, and it makes the other team dizzy. And when the other team like lose the concentration, they will attack and they score. Yeah, and that's how I just want to share that. Even we go to the temple, we go to school, we learn the teaching, but it takes practice to cultivate this energy of ease. And so, you know, I also enjoy sitting because that's one of my favorite positions where I can, you know, calm down, you know, my body relax. Then I can really touch this serenity, the tranquility you have experienced here every time we by the sound of bell or in the early sitting meditation. And so that's my practice. I cultivate the element of ease and lightness through sitting. It's my choice. I like to sit and to be at ease and aware of my posture. And then I come back to breathing and just cultivate that. Or sometimes, you know, I also work with computers. And sometimes after a few hours, I just feel, you know, my energy a little bit drained. And when now for walking meditation, I just relax, you know, my shoulder and my knees. And when we do that, we will bring in this element of resting. We walk in such a way that we can rest and bring, you know, the lightness into our body and mind. And so I invite, you know, us to practice that. So maybe we listen to one sound of bell and just to aware of our posture and just breathe in and enjoy our in breath and out breath and see how we feel with one sound of bell. And so I just share practice, you know, the awareness on the body that can bring about ease and lightness. And now I move on to the second area, the next four breath that we can kind of cultivate the awareness on the feeling. Yeah, our body, you know, this human being made up of this body side, but also the feeling side. And to me, I see that anyone who are an awakened one, they cultivate this sense of ease, and in them very strong, and the ease element or the quality can help them to be, you know, alert and also be calm. They calm so they can see things clearer. They can see things clearer. And you know that we are young, and especially we born in America or the West, we endow when we are supported by the first generation, mom and dad. So like our sisters share, we have enough to eat, more than enough to eat, more than enough to wear, and so we don't have to worry as a young age right now. But I know many of us are growing up, and we start to, kind of standing on our 2 feet to continue our parenting. And soon we might, get together and build a family. And life, I have to tell you, life is not a smooth road, smooth sail, smooth sea all the time. And there are times we will encounter this bump on the road, or the high waves. And then those difficult times can easily create difficult situation into our lives. When we start going to work, the co-worker, sometimes they act in a way, they speak in a way that trigger negative seed or water seed, negative in us. That when we can easily get emotion, we can get angry, or the water seed of fear in us, worry. Sometimes I work for IT, and sometimes the boss he say things, hey, you need to get it done, or things like that, and it causes anxiety and worry for me, and I have to wake up at night, make sure I complete that project, so to be on time, things like that. And in relationship also, in the beginning we have this strong, kind of how we call attraction for each other, and we can, how we call, chill, and you can yield, we can, take care and give way. But then after we know for a while, and somehow, we don't nourish the flower of love. You don't speak too nicely. You start complaining. Say, oh, your hair today not look very nice. Or how about, I think you a little bit chubby. They didn't use the word nicely, you look fat. No, you look chubby today. It's like a little bit, And things like that. And, we might say things that can trigger this, something, it can hurt ourselves. And so I think that with the practice of mindfulness, we can aware when someone says something, or behave in a way, if you aware of our body and then our feeling, you feel this heat coming up when we're angry, or we feel this sadness sometimes, or worry when it arises, and at that time we can just come back to our breathing and say, okay, breathing in, I know there's a hurt in me. There's a word or a look or an action that water the seed of fear, of worry. And in the spirit practice, we embrace this energy with tenderness and not suppressing. Because sometimes we suppress it, okay, get out, or get down. Yeah, but then we still hold there. But we have to learn how to love ourselves and embrace, because this feeling, this emotion is part of us, right? It's just, they water by, the environment. And so let us develop this compassion and love and care of ourselves. We need to deserve some love. And you say, hello, my anger, hello, my sadness. I know you come up, but I'm here for you. Because with just that awareness, the energy got acknowledged or got shined by this energy of mindfulness, and somehow the intensity of that emotion can start to decrease. And then if you continue to practice, it becomes more calm and calmer, until a point where you can feel more at ease, and you can return to a state of balance. And in the practice, we use images to give an example. And with dealing with emotion, there's an image come to mind is the surfer and the waves. You know, right now, somehow we live close by the bay or something, the wave very nice. Yeah, and I don't know if the surfer, they can surf with this wave. Yeah, but I mean, as a practitioner, you know, we learn to practice in such a way that bring the balance, not to to lose, get carried away or identify ourselves with those emotions that we get lost, or get drowned by those emotions. But we cannot be too harsh, beating ourselves up. Suppose we have this feeling of regret, say something bad to others, and sometimes we go home we feel, oh, why I said such a thing, why I do such a thing. But instead of that, we embrace, say, okay, give an understanding to ourselves. Okay, I know that I'm not skillful today, but with the practice, I will learn how to be skillful next time. So we learn how to forgive ourselves. And the way we embrace our emotion is to develop this compassion. Because we ourselves need some love, right? Some compassion too. Because sometimes we monks and then we think, okay, I just give this joy and happiness and compassion to others. No, monks and nuns, we learn how to cultivate compassion and understanding for ourselves. Because within us we carry the suffering of our family, our ancestors. And so we have to learn how to take care of that first, so that we can cultivate this insight or understanding about the behavior, the habits of other people, so we can, forgive, or we can embrace that. Suppose someone, say something to us, so we understand maybe he has a bad day or something triggered him. He's not happy today. He's grumpy today. So he says such a thing. But I know that he's not in that state forever. With calmness, with the practice, he can change. He can change. And we too can change. We will not, always sad. We will not always be worried. And, fall into despair. And with the practice, we can embrace and transform that and bring that into a state of balance. Like the surfer, he knows where the wave, sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. And because through the practice, how many days, many hours practice, he learn how to stay on his surfboard, and then he just rides his way to the shore, to the shore. And that image is very beautiful. And sometimes in our life, we have emotional ride. Sometimes we high and silent, but there are times we are down and sad. So I hope the practice of listening to the bell, the walking meditation, eating in silence, or the mindful breathing can help us aware of our state of mind and emotion, so we can bring and calm ourselves into a state of balance, restore a state of lightness and at ease. And so that is the realm of feeling and emotion. So maybe we listen to one more of the sound, the bell, and then just let us be aware of how our state of mind and the feeling, is there a feeling of joy, feeling of sleepiness, recognize that too. Or whatever feeling, just aware. So dear friends, that's the 8th exercise, the first 8th exercise in the Sutra of Mindful Breathing. And the last 8 is dealing with our mind, mental state, and the object of mind can be the environment and what you see and what you touch, and also inner self. And sometimes I just share that we have emotion arise, and then it can trigger a mental formation, like anger or hatred, violence. And those are negative energy that can not very nice for ourselves and others. But there are also mental formation that are nice and positive, like happiness, compassion, friendship, things like that. And so, an image that comes to my mind is a story or a teaching of the Buddha about the second arrow. The second arrow. You know how you suppose maybe nowadays we don't get shot by arrow. Back then, our ancestors sometimes they go to war and then they got shot by arrow. Yeah. And when an arrow shot, we have a wound, right? And if another arrow, the second one, shot at the same place, how do you feel when the same arrow they strike the same place where you got the wound? Yeah, it get worse, right? The intensity even stronger, 10 times or even 100 times. But how about nowadays we play sport like young men? Anyone have rolled the ankle before? Yeah, or you have an injury in your knee, right? Like myself, I love to play soccer and then I roll both my ankle one time. And then how hard it is. I have to work. I rest only a couple of days, but I have to walk, and I remember how uncomfortable it is to you have to walk, and then that pain. Whenever that injury, that leg that have the ankle roll, you touch it, and then it's I can see how painful it is. But then that's not the worst part. The worst part is I like to play, continue to play, right? When my ankle is not healed. And so when I come out and play, and when I roll, I make a certain move that, land on that angle, the sharp pain coming in. And I just want to share the intensity about the second effect, the thing that you reinforce into, that wound or that pain. And that's the physical part. We also have emotional pain. Right? Sometimes we have headache, and sometimes we have an injury. And if we don't learn how to be calm, be still, and be compassionate, to care for that wound or that injury, we easily complain about the injury. Oh, why I have the injury? Like myself, I complain about myself. Why I have this injury? I should have take care and come out and play. Fun with my friend, and that complaining is the second arrow. You don't feel comfortable, you don't feel at ease, you don't, try to find another activity, sit at home, chill out on the couch, watch a soccer game, things like that. Back then I do that, huh? And so just nurture that wound instead of come out and play. Yeah, and so this mental formation come up, it caused me to complain, and I don't feel at ease, and also there's an urge, a desire for me to get on that field to play. That's just a small thing, like the ankle pain. But there are times when we have, suppose some people in the retreat, they share about if they have chronic pain, or like terminal illness, cancer, things like that. When you heard the news, I have cancer, how do you feel? You feel, oh, my life, that's it. It's very tough. And that in science, they share that, if you learn the news that you have this illness, and if you have more worry, more fear, and you can bring more tension into your body, and then that can lead your illness to grow stronger, and your lifelong can be diminished. And so when we have a cancer or like terminal illness or something like that, with the practice you can learn how to accept, how to care, accept the situation, understanding the situation, and learn ways to care, to embrace our pain. Because in the teaching, life, we cannot stay forever. It's just we grow up, we grow old, we get sick. And one time we have to pass away, leave this world, we have to return to Mother Earth. And that's just the nature of life. Sometimes we don't accept that, many of us. And sometimes myself too. I just cherish this life, and I see myself still young. Many lives took a long time to live, but who knows one day, that will set in. And as monk and nun, we contemplate on impermanence every day, to recognize, to awaken to that truth, that we will have, grow old, we have sickness, and we will pass away. And with that, we learn to accept and cherish our day, and learn how to live our life mindfully and meaningfully, and cherish the condition around us, our loved one, our mom, dad, sister, and brother. Learn how to share our time, learn how to be with them and present for them, so that when it's time for us to go, we just, tell ourselves that I have done my best to be a nice person, to be more loving to my family. And with that, we embrace our emotion, our pain, and we can be lighter. And the rest of the time that we still stay on this world, it can be an easy ride. It's not a rough ride with fear and worry. And so with that, I just want to end here and give the microphone to my brother to share about equanimity. So thank you for listening. Maybe we listen to one sound of bell, or maybe we stand up and stretch a little bit to relax.
Let's have everyone stand up. We'll leave the hokey pokey. Okay, are you ready? I put my left foot in. I put my left foot out. This is my friend. Okay, can you lead that song? Okay, come on. Go for it.
Got that. You put your right foot in, you put your right foot out, you put your right foot in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left foot in, you put your right foot out, you put your left foot in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Right hand.
Your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left hand in, you put your left hand out, you put your left hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your hand in, you put your hand out, you put your hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your belly in, you put your belly out, you put your belly in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around.
Carefully, your back upright, back to belly breathing. You enjoy one side of the bell together.
Dear respected teacher, your brothers, your sisters, and your friends, I've been sitting here
Stressful response.
I've been sitting here very peaceful and enjoyed two of our beloved brothers sharing joyfully very much. And I said, wow, I feel very blessed. I feel like everything I wanted to share, they will share them all. And I don't have much to share. This is almost about time. But what I wanted to share with you is so great to be back to the homey state, the evergreen state, be able to sit up here and see so many young faces, a lot of huskies. It's so wonderful. This retreat has been very nourishing for me personally. This is something that I wanted to do for a long time, to be able to bring the practice back to the state of Washington or the Northwest region, to be able to share with the young people. But it took 7-8 years for the dream to be realized. So I'm very happy to be in here. And sitting up here, I feel like I don't need to say much, just to be able to sit here and enjoy and benefit your presence, see a lot of familiar faces that I have been known for a long time, growing up together, and a lot of young faces, and I can see from your parents, I can see your faces, and I recognize your parents are in view, so wonderful. So I am fully aware that we have a very limited time left, and I greatly appreciate your patience and your attention. You've been listening very attentively, which is so wonderful. So the last topic that I'm going to cover, which is the equanimity. Equanimity, also translated as letting go, is letting go, xả, buông bỏ. So I will share with you from my personal experience in the context of practicing mindfulness. So for me, is letting go. There are two things. Maybe I can just narrow down the two things to share with you. First is about the material possession, how to let go of that. And for me, is growing up in America, living in American dreams, like a lot of us here, young people are currently living. I worked very hard to earn my way to college, University of Washington. Worked really hard to get my degree, to go out. And then after college, move on. I got a job, looking for a good job. So I found a good job. And after that, I moved on to After finding a job, a good job, next thing is, you start making money. Then the next thing is when you have money, you will buy a nice car. And after you get a nice car, next thing is lead to, want a new house, want a house. This is does it sound familiar to you? It's really an American dream, huh? Especially those of you who are currently in college or graduating from college. Yeah. But life doesn't end there. It's just American dream. It can only get bigger and bigger and bigger. Bigger and bigger and bigger. And after a new car, just for some time, a few months, I got bored. I want something else. The same way a new house, for some time, you want a bigger house. So craving, desire, it has no bottom. It just keeps going bigger and bigger. Generally speaking, is that we define happiness is something that will accumulate wealth, something that makes life more secure, right? Something that you want to accumulate more material possession in your life so you feel safe. So often that we sacrifice the present moment, our life, so that our future can be more safe, so that when you retire, you have all of these retirement plans, all of the money in the bank that you have, so you can live for the rest of your life. I don't know what about you, but when I was in college, I had this crazy dream. But I wanted to retire when I turned 40. I want to become a millionaire when I turn 40. And I also wanted, after I turned 40, I had all of the money that I planned to have. I want to move to the state of Hawaii, buy a house next to the beach, and enjoy myself and spend the rest of my life there. That was a dream. So that is how I grew up with living that American dreams. So during those 8 years, I accumulated quite a lot of things that I wanted to accumulate. And during that 8 years, I sacrificed a lot of things leading to those 8 years. Sacrifice my present moment, working really hard, working a couple of jobs to earn more money, to make sure that I'm successful enough. Until one day, there's something of me, inside of me, there's something is always, I feel like there's something very lacking. Something is not right. Something is not correct. Even though that what I had, it wasn't fulfilling for me. Sometimes life can get very stressed. I was working in the financial field for 8 years, almost 9 years, before I left to become a monk. So during those 8 or 9 years, I accumulated a lot of tension, a lot of stress that actually built my mind and my body as well. And every time that a way for me to get out of it, to release it, is to take vacation, to go somewhere else, and just to enjoy myself. And it works just temporarily. But when I come back, the reality hit me again. The reality hit me again. So inside of me, it's just something that was very empty. Something that was, there was a hole inside. But I did not know what it was. I did not know what it was. I just knew that something was missing in my life. Until 2005, I exposed to the Mindfulness practice. Just like a lot of you, I like what I read, I like what I see online, and I try to go to Plum Village just for 1 week, just to check it out, to see. Sometimes what you see, what you read, what you see online, what you read, may not be the reality. So you have to check it out for yourself. Like Sister Lee shared the other day, you have to investigate, right? You have to investigate. So I took 1 week to go to Plum Village to check it out. It took me 4 days. The 4 days, this is how I get adapted to the environment and get used to the practice. It's the first time ever just be able to sit still. I remember in the meditation hall in Upper Hamlet, I felt so calm and so peace to be able just to sit there and knowing that I had nowhere to go, nothing to do, just sit there and just enjoy the moment. It was, for me, it was about a wow moment for me. I remember when I was working, sometime during lunchtime, there were a lot of tension, a lot of stress. Sometimes I have to skip lunch and just go over to the, in Seattle, there is a St. James Cathedral across the freeway, I-5. I work next to the Bank of America Tower, the black building. And sometimes I just skip lunch and I just walk over there just to go inside and just enjoy the peaceful moment in there. I didn't know what to do in there. I just went in there and just sat. I just sat down. So I remember that moment when I was in Upper Hamlet, the first time ever in my life, I felt so peaceful. I was like, wow, this is maybe something that was maybe the host. There's something that's missing, something that I'm longing for. So I like the practice, I enjoyed it very much, and I came back. I came back to Seattle and I continued to practice. And then when I continued to practice, it generated more joys and happiness. And the path is slowly opened up for me. So I decided, this is it, this is the path that I've been looking for. And this is something that was missing and I did not know. So to the point that I realized, well, the missing piece, the missing whole, there was the spiritual dimension that I didn't have a chance to experience until then. So I decided to drop everything out, to become a monk, And I remember it took me 1 year to finalize everything. It was very, very difficult to let go all of the material possessions that I have been accumulated for so long, worked so hard for it. And I think it's even harder for all of the loved ones that I leave behind. So it was very hard. It took me 1 year. And I remember I told my sister, I told my mom, they cried very much. But inside of me there was a very strong aspiration that I want to go forward my life. I want to do something more meaningful. I want to live a life very peaceful, easy, like what Khai said earlier. So it took courage. It took courage to do that. And it took me quite some time to do that. And I remember the day that I dropped everything out, clear everything, I felt so light. Very, very light. So light to be able to walk out the house. It's so nice, nothing left. Just all I took with me was just a luggage and a backpack to go to Plum Village. Imagine you work for so long, for so many years, all the things you accumulated, all your loved ones, your friends, and you accumulate all of these and you left behind. I felt so light, so light than ever before. Just to be able to leave everything, drop everything out, and just move on to the new path was so wonderful. One of my favorite stories is that at that moment that I realized that happiness is something can be experienced in the here and now, and not something that we have to work or sacrifice ourselves for the future, for the future. And I realized that, happiness does not need to have a lot of money. You don't need to have a lot of money in order for you to be happy. As a monks and nuns now, we only receive 40 bucks a month. That is our allowance. We receive 40 euros a month. For those of us who live in Plum Village or in Germany, we receive 40 euros. For the brother and sister who stay in the US centers, they receive 50 bucks. So it's about the same. It's about the same. And this 40 bucks is enough for us to buy toothpaste, toothbrush, telephone card to call home. But for me, that 40 bucks, it means so much to us. It means in such a way is that you don't need it. It feels so light. But sometimes the gesture gives us the 40 bucks, the allowance. It's kind of like annoying to put in the pocket to carry it away, to carry it around. Or sometimes some of us, we just go out, we just buy some cookies and we drink tea and the brothers sitting together and just enjoy it. That's how we spend our 40 bucks. So it's wonderful. It's just the feeling, the energy, feel much better than before you make 6 digits or, you're taking home a big paycheck, it feels so joyful and so very light. And come back to one of my favorite stories is that I remember the story was told by our teacher, and it's one of my favorites. It's in Vietnamese, so I was going to say in Vietnamese first so that you can get the joke out of it, and then I will translate it. How the people escape Vietnam to go abroad, and most often they take a lot of their belongings with them, their jewelry, golds, and all that. And on the way traveling on the sea, they get pirated, they get robbed, get everything left. And when they got to the camp, and one of the ladies, she was crying. She was like, "Trời ơi, làm sao sống đây? Làm sao cuộc tôi làm sao sống nổi đây? Bây giờ còn có 2-3 chỉ vàng làm sao mà sống đây?" And then there's another young man was running around half naked, and chỉ có cái quần xà lỏng thôi. And then he heard this lady saying that, and then he said, "Trời ơi, làm sao tôi sống đây? Bây giờ chỉ còn có cái quần xà lỏng." Chỉ còn có một cái quần xà lỏng làm sao mà sống đây? So he was just being sarcastic with that lady, but he was very joyful. He's enjoying himself, and even though he has only the salon on, and he just enjoy his. So salon, it's just a pair of shorts or boxer, his on. And he's like, how can I live when I only have a boxer on? This is all I have. And the other lady says, how can I live when I have only just a few grams of gold left? So that is a symbol. That's one of my favorite. When we'll be able to let go our possession, material possession. It's just joy, happiness will born naturally. The second part that I want to share about letting go is the idea about perception. For me, this is the hardest part compared to material possession. And especially when we have notion, idea, perception about someone, it can haunt you. And if there is no way, there is no practice to get you out, it can haunt you for the rest of your life, as well as the people around you. Because you know that we enter art when we are sad, our loved one also sad, right? This is actually the first time I was going to share this with you. I have never shared this personally in public about my personal story. I was born and I grew up with our father. My parents were separated before I was born due to the Vietnam War. My father was in the military. It was in the central, and the war was very, very intensive. So my father evacuated all of us to the south. So that's how we got separated. So growing up, I didn't have a father. I didn't have a father. It was very difficult for me. Very difficult for me. Until, during 13 or 14 years, my mom did not tell me anything about my father. So basically during the 13 years, I had no perception, nothing at all about my father. I didn't know anything about him. Until before the day that I left for the US, we met him. Just one day before we left the US. We met him. You know where we met him? We met him at the international airport in Vietnam. That's significant. That's right. He came to the airport and said goodbye to us. And that's how I got introduced to my father. The night before that, my uncle bumped into him at the big market in Saigon. Very late at night. So my uncle told my father that your family will be leaving for the US tomorrow. They leave early, the next day in the morning. So he came and he said goodbye to us. So I came to the US and then I started to ask a lot of questions about my father. And my mom told me, she started to tell me all the stories about my father. And I learned, one of the stories I learned that my father was having an affair when my family was evacuated. And before that, he was having an affair with some other woman. But that is not that I suffered. What I suffered was, during the 13 years in Vietnam, he didn't go look for us. I felt like I was banned, from my father. So I had a lot of anger, a lot of blaming to my father, a lot of perception about my father. And I carried that for quite some time, until I became a monk. It has a lot of times. I felt like, after he, I'm taking a little step back. He did not know my existence, but he knew that my sisters, my elder brothers and sisters existed. But during the 13 years before we met him, we thought that he passed away because of the war or something. But until we met him at the airport, and we knew that he was still alive, and he was captured. He was put in the education camp for quite a number of years before he was released. And I think the first time that I met him, the second time that I met him was in the US, after he came to the US. And I met him like 2 years later, and I confronted him. I talked to him. I said, why didn't you look for us? After this many years, after we got released from prison, why didn't you come and look for us? And he made up all of these stories and so on. And it even made me even more angry. So I had all of this perception about him. It was very hard for me. Until I became a monk, then I learned how to sit with that. I learned how to sit with that. I learned how to take care of the wounded child within me. My sister Nguyen guiding us this morning, how to take care of the wounded child within us. And I learned to look deeply about my father. And I chased back to my grandparents, And I learned to look at them, during those years when I was in the military service, very lonely, very lonely. Sometimes you go on the battlefield, you can be very scared, a lot of fear, and so on. And my mom was living far away. So this kind of thing, people who they need companion. They need something to keep them occupied. So I learned to look at that. I look at the young man, a soldier, far away from home, being lonely, and all that. It helped me to understand slowly, to understand I put myself in his shoe. And I also chase him back to my grandfather. So the patterns, it's very similar to the pattern. And I learned how to look at myself, some of the things that I inherited from him. You know? And I slowly to accept and recognize. And I learned to forgive him. So I can move on. So for me, letting go of that happiness, perception about my father was such a big liberation, big transformation for me. The reason that I'm sharing this story with you, that I know that a lot of us, if not a lot of us, but some of us, especially growing up here in America, there are miscommunications due to culture gap or the generation gap between us and our parents. So often that it causes conflicts and difficulty between us and our parents. And I see that this practice is something that's very crucial. It helps us to calm down and be able to look deeply into the situation. And this is I'm sharing this with you because I know that some of us are currently maybe in the same situation. And once I liberated from the perception from my father, I learned to appreciate him more and accepted him more now. You know, growing up, now that I see that growing up with our father, it may not be a bad thing. You know, with our father, I have the freedom. I got more love from my mom. I got spoiled more from my mom, from my sisters, and I'd be able to do what I wanted to do. Maybe with him there, maybe he stopped me. He wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do. Maybe he wouldn't let me to become a monk. So all of these good things, well, you know, with our father may not be a bad thing. So life give you whatever life has given us. It gives us a lemonade. You probably heard of this. Make the best lemonades out of it. If life gives us a lemon, make the best lemonades out of it. So sometimes, you know, life will give us a very favorable condition, but sometimes it's not. Whatever the condition is offering to us, we'll take it as it, and we'll make the best out of it. And I think as a human being, we can live in that spirit, and we make the best out of it. Parents, no matter what, they are parents. We can never get rid of them. They're always a part of us. They're always a part of us. And the best part is that they're always in us. We think that they are somewhere outside of us, but that's just a small part of it. The big part of it, they are inside of us. And they'll always be a part of us. And we all know that, you know, we genetically, DNA genetically, that we are transmitted by our parents. The best part that I appreciate that how I transform the perception about my father is that I feel like that healing has to start with us first. And I see that when I heal the child within me, it is so much easier for me to come to my father. So if we can heal ourselves, it's so much easier for us to heal with the people, the loved one, the people we have difficulty with. So we have to resolve the conflicts within us first. And I think that without this practice, it will be very difficult for me to confront or talk to the people that I have difficulty with. And one of the practices that I like it very much, and I have it so much for the last few years, my sister Phap Dung was sharing the other day, is touching the earth, like concentration. And for me, that when I practice the concentration, I scan to the difficult times that I live. when I was young, when I was a teenager, when I become a young adult, the people that I have had difficulty with, had problem with, I scan to it. And I make friends with them. And I heal myself. I put myself into it. Each time I did that, I went to a different session like that. And it helped me to really heal. And I really learned to appreciate the people that were actually in my life, the people who were in my life who have left a very big footprint in my heart. Whether it's positive or negative, is something to be grateful about. And whether it's positive or negative, is part of life. It's a great lesson to learn. And who I am today, I don't think that of those experiences, those people that I have met, I would not become a person that I am today, sitting in front of you and sharing with all of these wonderful practices and experiences with you. So I learn to appreciate and cherish them very much. And the best part is that I feel so much closer and connected to them now. Even though that we are far, far away. Some of them no longer physically here with us. Some of them will pass away. Some of them still exist here. But I feel very connected. It's just from the intimate level that I'll be able to connect and understand them more and love them more than ever before. Some people think that, when people become a monks and nuns, they will leave everything behind, even their loved ones. But that's not really true. For me, that I feel like after I become a monk, even though that I'm not physically being there 100% with my loved ones all the time, but I feel that I have much more love for them than ever before. Love sometimes, like my brother shared the other day, is require being present. Present here is not only the physical, being there physically for them, but mentally, spiritually being there for them. Whenever they need, you're there for them. So now I send my energy to the people that I think of, I love, and send it to them, whether they're still here or they're not there. And sometimes that I do, when I do the sitting meditation, it's very interesting. Some of the images actually come up, and I just recognize, embrace, and I just laugh afterward. And I say, wow, that's how you suffer? That's it? Just that, and you suffer before? So I think that when we have the capacity to sit still, have the clarity, we have to see things very clear. And we're not vulnerable. We're not fragile like a child that we used to be. So having said that, I encourage everyone that this is a wonderful practice. It helps us to heal ourselves. It helps us to communicate, to reconcile with our loved ones. But it has to begin with us first. So whatever we share with you the last couple of days, and we have today and tomorrow, hopefully something that will trigger in your heart, will leave something in your heart. So I think it's time for the walking meditation. So let us end here. We continue to share tomorrow. Tomorrow we don't have a Dharma talk tomorrow, but we do have a session for question and answer. And you can ask us questions from the bottom of your heart. Thank you for listening. So dear friends, the next activity will be the walking meditation. So we can have maybe a 5-10 minutes break. And then please gather in front of the dining hall for the walking meditation. So today we will take a shorter route. We won't get So we'll go to the beach today. We know the way today. It's a beautiful path where we will walk together today. So please be on time for the walking meditation. It is now 12:18, so maybe just take 5 minutes or so. And then we'll meet again in front of the dining hall. Our sister did share yesterday that there will be a Khai mindfulness training transmissions tomorrow morning. We do have the Khai mindfulness training application form available, so we will leave them up here on the stage. So if some of you are inspired to take the training, please take one and fill out. And either you can give it to your Dharma sharing facilitator this afternoon, or if not, you can leave us in the bell by tonight so that we have some time to prepare the certificate for you as well as the ceremony for tomorrow. Can we ask anyone how many of you are interested to take the 5 mindfulness trainings tomorrow or want to upgrade? If those of you who already took it and you want to upgrade it, can you raise your hand so we have an idea how many that have taken it?
Raise hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Going once.
Going once.
Twice.
You can take just only one. You don't have to take all 5.
Yeah.
But what it is that when we were a kid and our parents took us to the temple to take the Namgyari, and some of us don't know what it is. But this is just to help guide us on our path. And what you commit to is actually reading it once every 2 weeks. So it's kind of like a way to guide us on our practice. So it's not like you become any weird thing. You're committing to read it every 2 weeks.
And practice it.
It's going to be a very simple ceremony, but it's going to be a very meaningful, something we can remember.
Another quick announcement. For those families or anyone who is planning to offer something for tonight's be-in, please let me know so I can have an idea how many skits or performances we will have tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.